have the best opportunity to exchange commerce as much as possible with one another, and then also provide uses to the general public, which just based on my own personal feedback and has been positive. I think a lot of the residents in the area have been, pleased with what we've been able to put forward as far as the product at the address at 58 Pulaski Street, and I'm simply looking to expand on that. We have a few commercial uses in mind that we'd like to potentially evolve into. Just for instance, yesterday, and this has been ongoing for a couple of years now, I get solicited regularly from, different types of businesses, but even, as early as yesterday, I had a good conversation with a gentleman who has a hard apple cider company. And he's got a really neat product. He's got a really good business plan and idea. And, again, I'm not suggesting that that's the direction I go, but to make the point of that, with an expansion of the overlay, businesses like, we have childhood dance class instructors and, different types of commercial uses. Myself and Mr. Callow, who I'm working with at the 2 Washington Street, the two of us would like to possibly put together a small market, which I think would be a really good use for the, especially for the residents down on that side of, inside of the ward down there in Peabody. A place where you could pick up a gallon of milk, a carton of eggs, and maybe some marinated meats, things like that. So I think we're just looking to expand on the product, and hopefully with your help, we'll be able to do that.
Mr. Greeley, any questions of Mr. Greeley? Councilor Turco, please.
Thank you. And I just want to reiterate what Ed already said. I think it's a huge success. I think it was the right move by the council. I think it's the city as a whole. Anybody who asks would say it's a success, so I would support this. My question's regarding, this is the cabinet building that we're referring to now. I was actually there for dinner the other night. There's a Mako in the back. Is that part of the establishment? Because that was my only concern with mixing any type of food establishment with the Mako, because I know those painting booths sometimes create an odor or an issue, and whereas this won't be a special permit. I'm not quite sure. I think it would probably still go before health when you open these things, and they would address those issues, but what's your feeling on that?
Thank you, Councilor Turco. Mr. Greeley, please.
Yeah, my feeling is that it's one business. The building is about 80,000 square feet, and I do know that they're heavily regulated. And naturally, that any use that would expand into any type of, food and beverage, naturally would have to be able to coexist. I would not sacrifice an expansion of the Mill Overlay District for one business on a 90,000 square foot building. The lease is coming to an end shortly, and if it was not going to be a good fit for the property, it simply wouldn't exist on the property.
Thank you. Yeah, I had no intention on voting against it because of that. I was just curious what you as the owner would think about that type of odor that may emanate from a property like that.
I 100% agree with that, and I do know that they're constantly being regulated. Their ventilation systems are having to constantly be improved and updated. He does run an excellent business down there, but if for some reason, unbeknownst to myself, if it was not going to be a good fit with the Board of Health, I simply wouldn't be renewing the product.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilor Turco. Anyone else? Councilor Rossignol, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you to Mr. Bellavance. I know Pulaski Rear Street has a lot of truck traffic for the businesses that are beyond the Mill District. My question to you is, have you, now I agree with you, Mr. Greeley, this has been a success. I don't want to be the fly in the ointment, but I do worry about 18-wheelers going through Pulaski Rear and public walking from, let's say, the eatery to the market and back and forth, especially during the day. At night, obviously, the businesses behind are, for the most part, finished. But during the day, especially, there's a lot of truck traffic that goes through that area. So to you, Mr. Bellavance, have you reached out to the police department regarding safety as far as that road goes and truck traffic through that area?
I have not talked to the police department about that. That issue has been brought up. It's something that we want to discuss further in regards to that, because there's a lot of truck traffic in that area, and the hope of the creation of the mill overlay was to cut back on that truck traffic, and it's something that we're watching closely. But I can certainly talk to the police, and maybe we can talk with Mr. Greeley about how we can work on reducing that, or put some traffic calming measures in there to make it more safe. Definitely.
Thank you, Mr. Bellavance. Councilor Rossignol, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Because that's my only concern is at night, there's not a lot of 18-wheelers, there's not a lot of truck traffic because most of the businesses beyond the Mill District has already gone away for the evening. But if we're looking at other mixed uses that are more daytime friendly, like a market or something, that would just be one of my concerns. And this is a conversation that, Mr. Greeley, you and I have had before as far as even residential components in the area. Just that one thoroughfare being a main entrance for the businesses behind yours. So as long as the police department weigh in with their questions and their comments, I think that this would be a viable option. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Rossignol. Mr. Greeley, please.
I agree with all of that being said. My feeling on that is that we are getting ready to submit a pretty comprehensive parking and street management program equipped with speed bumps, mileage signage, and pedestrian crosswalks. I think the residents of Peabody, the tax-paying residents of Peabody, at least the ones that I've talked to in Ms. Peach's ward, they would prefer to not have the hustle and the bustle of what that activity entails back there. I think it's one of the reasons why they enjoy the product that we've been able to put up forward. I believe that with the appropriate amount of speed bumps, mileage signage, and pedestrian crosswalks, all we would ask the industrial abutters is just to be responsible and disciplined when they're driving down the road. Because what happens right now, and it's because the street's not being managed, is they like to skid out and they like to go over to 56 Pulaski and do their spin-outs and burnouts, and there's all kinds of, burnouts on the parking lot stuff that goes on. And so I really feel where we own and operate, we're in a really good position to manage and mitigate a lot of that concern. And just to end with, I don't believe there'd be as much traffic on Pulaski Rear as there is on Main Street. When I drove down Main Street this evening, I saw kids out on the sidewalk. I don't believe that they would be any in more or less danger on Main Street that they would be on Pulaski Rear if we had a good plan.
Thank you, Mr. Greeley. Any other councilors? Councilor Peach, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to reiterate what other councilors have said. As a ward councilor, Ward 3 is incredibly grateful for what Mr. Greeley's been able to do over at the mills. We've seen significant improvement. We've reutilized basically empty mill buildings. So we appreciate what you've done, and I look forward to supporting this change.
Thank you, Councilor Peach. Councilor McGinn, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I am also supportive of this expansion, and I'd be ready to make a motion when the chair is ready for that.
Thank you, Councilor McGinn. Any other councilors? I'd like to personally say that my family frequent flyers at the mills. My granddaughters dance in one of the studios. My daughter and son are frequent flyers for coffee at the coffee shop. And my wife is a frequent flyer at the Antiques, and we go to dinner there. So I'm very pleased with what you've done, and thank you for doing that. If there's no other comments, Councilor McGinn, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move to refer this matter to the Planning Board and move to set up a public hearing to amend the zoning map to expand the Mill Overlay District to add property ID 053-087. So moved.
Thank you, Councilor McGinn. You heard the motion by Councilor McGinn. Any comments? Councilor Rossignol, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you to Councilor McGinn, would you amend the motion just to include a request from the police department just to weigh in on the traffic in that area?
Councilor McGinn, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you to Councilor Rosenthal. Because this is a zoning change, we're going to be mandated to go through a public hearing. So we can absolutely, I mean, I can add that to this motion, but we would get inputs from the departments for the public hearing as a matter of course. But I will amend the motion to further request input from the police department on the safety issues raised by, potential safety issues raised by Councilor Rossignol. So moved.
Thank you, Councilor McGinn. Councilor Rossignol, you okay with that? Mr. Greeley, comment? Yes, sir.
One more very important point that I forgot to add it. Those children on Main Street were on sidewalks. My comprehensive parking plan and street management plan includes the installation of sidewalk use. So that will certainly help any potential safety issue down on that street.
Thank you, Mr. Greeley. You heard the motion. We have a motion on the floor by Councilor McGinn. Any last comments? There being none, roll call vote, please.
Councilors Rossignol,
Yes.
Manning Martin,
Yes.
O'Neill,
Yes.
McGinn,
Yes.
Gould.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you, committee. Anything else we'd like to talk about?
Move to adjourn, Mr.
There
Chairman.
being none, we are adjourned. Thank you.